Okay, so my measurements are now done. I have a rough drawn schematic of what I need to make in order to replace the stern. So I will now walk you over and show you the lake side of the marina and how bad the wind is blowing. So come along for the ride.
Hello and welcome back to another episode. If you are enjoying our videos, please like, share, and subscribe to follow our journey.
I don't know if you can even hear me over the wind, but this is the lake side of the marina. This particular slip is not protected at all from the wind. It's a pretty hairy walk, even getting down that walkway. It's bobbing and rolling with the water. So I'm very glad that I have the slip that I do that is in a much more protected section of the marina. You can see here on the dock that it's getting wet simply by the waves washing over the edge of this particular dock. This is forecasted to be 15 to 25 mile an hour winds. Here we are at the very end of the same dock. You will recognize that little island in our Google Earth videos. In the wintertime, they drop the lake level about 15 to 20 feet, and between that island and that mainland, there is dry land. The Google Earth photos are taken during this time, so it makes it appear as though there's dry land there. During the summer fill, the lake is a couple of feet above that dry land, so there's actually water over it, which is starting to get there now. Sailboats still can't pass through that area when it's at summer fill, but motorboats are able to. If you come even a few feet away from that marina, or from that slip, you can see there's trees protecting me. The wind is practically nothing here. So that benefits us because the rest of the marina is behind the hill and behind all of these trees. So unless the wind comes from the northeast, it won't reach our boat and we have a very calm slip.
This day out here is the very next day, and the winds have calmed down to about 9 to 10 miles an hour, which is at the top end of my experience level and made for a very nice day sail. This time I decided to try something new and I raised the head sail first instead of the mainsail. It worked out well, except that the wind was now coming off the beam in order for us to raise the mainsail, and this is generally not good practice, so I'm a little surprised that we actually got the mainsail up with the wind coming from the side.
Hang on, let me have some.
There's also something going wrong where you get the sail halfway up and something at the top snags. I've not yet figured out what that problem is.
Here we are with a very nice downwind sail. Winds are approximately 10 to 11 miles an hour. We are wing on wing and we are moving pretty quick. I don't know how quick we're moving because we don't have the speedometer wired up on this boat, but this is probably the fastest downwind sailing that we've ever done. We're going to come up here for about a half a mile and turn to the right to our starboard and anchor in a river split that's there, and we will chat with you when we are anchored.
We were going to anchor here in the first cove where I do a circle, but when we got there I noticed that there were far too many trees laying in the water from the side, and I didn't want to risk losing the anchor to snagging it on a tree.
So here we are after a short sail. We decided to pull into, I think it's called Illinois Cove or Illinois Creek. It's kind of windy, so we're kind of swinging around on our anchor, but the anchor feels like it's well set. And we'll give you a quick tour of our surroundings. We just had two boats pass by us. I was planning on going into that cove a little farther, but the depth got shallow enough that I could drop the anchor, so we dropped it here at the mouth of that cove. And that direction is where we came in. That leads out to the main body of Lake Allatoona, where we will then head east back to our marina. The wind in this cove is coming down the cove from upriver, that direction. But out on the main body of Allatoona, the wind is coming from the east, which is to the left of this video here. So this is our anchorage for the day. Very pleasant anchorage. Apparently during the summer, this cove is extremely active, and we look forward to checking it out during those days. So that's it for now.
So after lunch and a few hours here, we decided to pull up the anchor and start to head back.
Keep pulling.
Here is that problem where it snags halfway up. By raising and lowering it a few times, it eventually clears itself, but I really do need to figure out what is causing that.
Let it go. I don't know. Something's blocking it, and I don't know what. Center, push the tiller left just a bit. Not that far. All right, pull. Pull. Pull tight.
We had all the sails up and set ready for the wind off the main channel to hit right there, and it almost catches us off guard because the winds on the main channel were a lot higher than they were in the cove and coming from a different direction. So now that we are in the main channel of the wind, we can actually sail the boat properly and not have to worry about too many shifting winds. Here the wind shifted and increased and caused us to heel over farther than we prefer, so I turned the boat into the wind, but not before losing a few items off the shelves in the cabin.
Come on, turn in! Whew. That was we passed 20 degrees.
So everybody by now knows what a tack looks like on our boat, and as you can see, we have plenty of tacks here on our way upwind, given that we are passing down a rather narrow channel on the lake. So I will not bore you with showing all of our tacks. I will fast forward until we get back to the marina. Here at this round part is where we turned into the wind and dropped the sails, started the motor, and then began to motor our way back to the marina.
I got a big ass boat coming out. Yeah.
This other larger motorboat was coming out of the marina the direction that we needed to go in, so I had to pull off into this small section here and idle for a while until he passed by.
Check out the window behind you. Quick, quick, quick. Well, he was right at the end of our slip.
I misjudged our pulling into the slip and actually bumped the nose on the end of the dock. This is the first time that I have missed entering our slip. Even after reversing and repositioning, it's still a terrible entry angle, and this is probably one of the worst dockings that I have done so far. So we are now docked for this day, and the next clips will start to show my work in beginning to repair the stern by epoxy fiberglassing and laminating the plywood. To begin, I score 2 lines separating the sheet of plywood in thirds.
So as you just saw, I cut the plywood that I'm going to use to repair the stern of the boat. I bought one sheet of BCX plywood and cut it into 3 equal parts. The measurements that I got last week on the boat is 42 inches wide and 20 inches deep, tall, however you want to put it. And so one sheet was more than enough to do this. So I have cut it into 3 equal sheets, and I will laminate all 3 sheets together, and that will give me a very strong, very thick stern to put back in place of the existing stern. My plan, and the reason why I made it so thick, is I want the new stern to integrate with the motor well of the boat, which the previous stern did not. The boat was not designed for outboard engines, and so the stern was very weak. It was just fiberglass. It had no wood coring in it, and that is why the weight and the pressure of the engine pushing the boat collapsed the stern wall. Now thankfully the engine well was there, because otherwise the stern wall would have completely collapsed into the boat and possibly would have broken off and lost the engine in the water. I still think that this damage was done before we got the boat, but either way, it's mine now and I need to repair it. So this is how I am going about repairing that. I will laminate all 3 pieces together and then cut the parts into the angles that I need. The stern is not flat. It has a small curve to it, and I will do small beveled angles in order to achieve that curve, and then sand the sharp edges to make it flow easier when it's painted. After laminating together and then cutting to curve the wood, I will then fiberglass all around the outside and then put it on the boat and fiberglass it into the boat. That is the plan. As you can see next to me, I will be using the West System 105, and this is a West System 206, but I actually prefer to use the West System 205. This I bought accidentally, and I will be using it until it runs out and then switching back to West System 205. Now I have here in front of me a roll of woven fiberglass cloth that I will be using to laminate the wood together using the West Systems epoxy resin. This roll I had for a while. Back in the day I was attempting to build my own boats, and I did create something that resembled a boat but never actually got to anything worth showing off. So this is a leftover roll, and it will now serve its purpose to help repair our current boat.